Hello, my beautiful Life Path 22 person. Welcome to your Numerology Tarot forecast for 2024 with me, Raphael from Reydiant Reality. It's an absolute pleasure to have you. I just want to say a massive thank you so much to all of you who supported my work throughout 2023. For those of you that, have supported me for longer than that as well. I know there's a few of you. So it really does mean a lot. It really does mean the world to me. And also, I also wanted to say, I love that you guys come back to these month by month, every 3 months, every 6 months to check in, to see, right, how it's shaped up for you. And I love that you share your experiences, how this has shown up for you, what spoke to you, what didn't, all of that good stuff. It really does mean a lot and I love you guys for it. So with that said, let's get into what 2024 has in store for you. So you, my dear Life Path 22 person, there is a lot more fun and a lot more freedom in this year for you, right? Last year, everything was a little bit more somber, was a little bit more selfless for you as well. This year, it's all about fun, freedom, frivolity. You are being asked to explore who you are in terms of the world and social circles and connections, right? This is a great year for networking, building your connections. It's also a really good year for you to explore what or who is right on your doorstep that can help you move ahead with your plans, that can help your plans move along. Fun and freedom are the vibe this year. All right, so when it comes to your love life, for those of you that are single, this is a year for you to do a little bit of everything with a little bit of everyone. Have fun and date up a storm. This is also a year where a friend could potentially become a lover. It's also a year where relationships return to friendships. So if you and your partner are laughing and smiling and connecting with each other like you did before, you know, like when you first start dating, you kind of like mates that just really want to hang out with each other all the time, right? This could be your relationship getting back to that. And like I say, right, this is a year for bringing a fun and carefree energy to love. Be careful of glossing over challenges and red flags, right? Just because the way that your energy interacts with the year itself, there might be a tendency to like, no, I only want to see the good stuff, you know, don't like that. There's a possibility that you could lean into a little bit of toxic positivity. So just be mindful. All right. When it comes to your finances, this year you are spending money on a car, possibly more short journeys and trips, weekend breaks, city explorations, all of that kind of stuff is highly favored for you this year. Be open to whatever is coming your way, right? Now, when it comes to making money, you are great at it in general, but a part of that is going to be about your creativity. If you want to make more money this year and be tapping into the flow of abundance that's present in the world, you're going to have to use your mind, right? This isn't just about being clever and finding a hack. It's about using your own creativity and actually using your intelligence. When it comes to work, this is about team spirit, connecting with people from and in all walks of life to help you get ahead. This year, seek out connections with people that are usually quiet or the ones that are usually left out. Those people are going to be the ones that can actually really give you knowledge, information, or insight this year that truly helps you in some way. They'll have interesting stories and insights for you that you won't get anywhere else. This year, where you help others shine, they in turn help build you up towards achieving your goals. Bring the laughter and joy back to work, and if it's not there, how do you bring it in? It might be that you have to change your job, it might be that you have to change your role, it might be that you take a lateral move within the company or the industry that you're in. When it comes to your health, health is likely to be pretty good this year, especially if you're keeping active and getting out into nature. I can't stress that enough. Any time spent with young people, children or animals will absolutely help keep you young, but it's not just like that's not just having children, it's teaching them to forage, going fruit picking, doing things that are really kind of outside the norm. Also, not overthinking will do wonders for your health this year, so get into it. All right, with that said, let's have a look at what your 12-month tarot breakdown has in store for you. Take care and I'll see you in a moment. Hello, you beautiful Life Path 22 person. Welcome to your 12 month by month tarot breakdown. So let's get straight into it. Before we start, as always, I would like to bless my decks of cards with all forms of love, light, peace, prosperity, and abundance. And I pray that the messages that come through are ultimately clear and concise, and they help you on your path to your highest vibrational good. So for your as always, you're going to get one destiny card, one direction card per month of the year. And remember, this first card out, it kind of, and there it is, it kind of typifies the year that you're likely to have, right? So it's always, the first card out is always a really big deal because it's kind of setting the tone for the entire year ahead. Now, you have the Universe card. So in this deck, it's called the Universe, but this is actually the World card. But this is a massive level up year for you, right? This is, I mean, I know last year it was a lot more subdued for you guys. You really struggled. There were a lot of challenges for you. There was a lot of energy in the, you know, for the Life Path 22, it was very much an internal year and it was very much about other people, which, you know, it's not to say that you're self-centered or anything like that. It's just you're meant to be more focused on the things that you're building for the year, for the world. Literally the world. And so last year was a real struggle for you because it was very much an internal kind of energy. Now, that being said, this year, however, it looks like you are back to doing what you do best. Now, if you've been with me long enough, you probably know this, but there is a little secret about the World card. The World card is literally the 22nd major arcana because the full card is, so it's numbered 21, but because we have the full card, there are actually 22 major arcanas, which means that the World card is number 22. So this tells me that you are onto a very good year. It's going to be a very powerful year for you, a big year of change, a big year of potentially either creating a community or becoming more a part of the world's community. So this is big stuff for you. What I also like about this, it does suggest that you are expanding your horizons out into the world. So you're building something monumental this year, which is one of the things that you are meant to do in this lifetime. Now, in terms of January, this year is going to present you with, this year. So, in fact, probably worth mentioning, we come into the year with a Mercury retrograde. Now, last year in 2023, we started the year with a Mercury retrograde, a Mars retrograde, right the way through to like past the halfway point of the year. Mercury goes direct on the 2nd of January. So yes, we've got the post-retrograde shadow, but it's not that big a deal, right? It really actually isn't. It means that we come into the year, you're already quite reflective, but then we just kind of go and we get straight into it. Now, in terms of on the 21st of January, Pluto is coming back into the sign of Aquarius. Personally, I actually really liked this transit. I think it's going to be subjective, you know, to everybody, to each their own and how they experience it. But that being said, it's a pretty big deal right now. In terms of your January, this is where you come into the year, you are ready to play, you are not messing around. What I love about this, it looks like you are planning, you're getting structured, you're getting very organized. So it's kind of like you come into the Universal 8 year very much as yourself, but you've got a really clear vision or directive of where it is that you want to go. The other thing with the World card, it's a major level up, right? So take it, like this is awesome. All right, so let's see what your direction energy is. You've got your destiny energy for January and also for the year. So let's see what comes up for you as a clarifying energy. You've got the Justice card. So for some of you, this could literally be new contract right out of the gate. Now, I am going to say, if you are waiting to sign, if you're planning to sign a new contract, whether this is about work, whether it's about something to do with your home, maybe it's construction on your home, all of that kind of stuff. If you can wait until after the 18th or after the 21st of January, there's a reason for this, right? If you do it in the earlier part of the month, you got that Mercury retrograde shadow. It's not a big deal. It's not a massive deal breaker or anything like that because it is a direct Mercury. But if you can do it after the 21st, it means that whatever you initiate or sign a contract with, you're doing it under the fact that Pluto's already moved into Aquarius, so you don't then have that to worry about, right? That can sometimes represent an element that is out of our control, because it is Pluto, right? And make no mistake, while Pluto might have been demoted to a dwarf planet, I can tell you that little mitre, he's the one that, like, don't get me wrong, Luna runs the show, right? If you've been with me long enough, you know I love the moon. I have a deep, deep love for the moon, all things lunar. She's she runs the show, right? Let's not get twisted about anything. But Pluto, if you want to talk about real power, that's where it is. All right, now, as we come into February, you have the Chariot card. So things are now really starting to speed up. As you come into February, things are starting to move. This is where whatever contracts or commitments you've made in January, they start to come good in February. This is where you start to gain traction, where you start to see results almost immediately, which is fantastic. To clarify on this, you've got that Ace of Cups. So whatever you are setting into motion, whatever you are committing yourself to, signing on the dotted line, whatever you are putting out into the world, February, you are going to see it start to really grow and gain some traction, which is fantastic. The Ace of Cups is a beautiful card, and it does suggest that where maybe you've been stagnant, where, you know, whether this is in your emotions, whether there's something that you've been holding on to or healing from, February, you're going to finally feel the ice really thaw out, where you can go, oh, you know what, like now I feel much better. I feel more like myself. I think you will in January. You come into the year like, I'm not having another year like 2023 end of. Right? So you're very much you know, bossing it, but February I think is where the real change point comes in for you. Now as we come into March, we have the first eclipse of the year. So this is on the 25th of March. We have a full moon Libra, full moon lunar eclipse in the sign of Libra. Now, this is a big deal for a few reasons. The first one is whatever was in, so if you think back to October 14th of 2023, what were you setting into motion? What was being initiated? What was the biggest trend or theme around your lifescape? What was the biggest change that was initiated at that moment? The reason I say that is because whatever it was, you're going to be collecting the rewards, the fruits, or seeing the results of it here in March of 2023. All right. Now, it's a pretty big deal. We're going to get into that in a moment. Now, for this, you have the Emperor, right? So this is where you are, like, let's say you've baking a cake, right? Whatever you've been whatever ingredients you've been adding this and mixing it, and, you know, a little bit of this to balance that out, and March is where you start to bake it. March is where you start to harden and crystallize whatever it is that you're working on. March will see you really stepping into your personal power. It will see you gaining some kind of personal authority, and it could be as well for some of you, you are getting into or mixing with some form of education. Now, this could be formal education where you're going to study at a school or a university, but it could just as easily be that you are stepping into the role of a teacher in some way, shape or form. So March is looking really nice for that. It also suggests as well you might be dealing with some kind of legality. Excuse me. To clarify on this, whoa, you've got the 10 of Pentacles. I mean, that's so first of all, any and all conversations that you have with banks, banking institutions, building societies, anywhere that money is kept, money houses, so banks, building societies, offices, accountants, all that good stuff, bodes very, very well for you, right? March is a power month when it comes to your finances, especially for things around home, property, land, all of that kind of stuff. It looks really, really nice for you. The other thing with the 10 of Pentacles, this is about legacy, right? And coupled with the Emperor card, this is you thinking really deeply about what you want to leave behind, what you feel like you're here to share with the world in some way. And being a Life Path 22, you do have something big that you are meant to share with the world, right? That could literally be, and to kind of premise this, because not every Life Path 22 wants to be Donald Trump or Oprah, right? This might be you're a Life Path 22 that comes from a family of people who have never owned their own home. Maybe that is what you're here to do differently. Ooh, sorry, you'll have to forgive me. I've had this bloody cold for weeks and it just won't shift. Um, so it doesn't have to be that it's the biggest sort of world-shaking plans. It could just be a big plan or a big goal within the scope or the sphere of your own world. You know, and maybe, you know, buying that house, this is just an example to give, maybe buying that house shows that shows your future descendants that, you know what, if I do this, you can do this, right? And maybe you're leaving that behind to them as a legacy. Maybe you've got a body of work or knowledge or information that you've studied over a lifetime and have never, you know, maybe you haven't put it out into the world. This could be where you start to really build that. Now, as we come into April, I forgot to mention, January, April, May and July, they look to be sticky months this year, as does November. We'll see how they pan out for you personally. I mean, January, it looks like you're sailing through anyway. It's also worth mentioning that January could be the end of a legal situation as well. Now, back to April, packed astrological month. There is a lot happening here, right? Now, we've got 3 powerhouse transits, one of which, you know, I'm going to mention in just a moment. But if you would like to find out how any of these astrological transits that I'm talking about speak directly to your sign, your sun, moon, or your ascendant, you can get your year ahead astro tarot scopes. They're out there for your purchasing pleasure. You can get that on the link in the description box below. This year they are $7.99 a piece, which, you know, cheap as chips. You can get the bundle for $49.99. And that being said, they make great Christmas presents. And as you know, I absolutely pack them with as much of everything that I possibly can. Also worth mentioning, this year I've streamlined the buying process even more, so that way if you just want to purchase your sun, moon and ascendant, you can do it. You literally just pick the upsells that you want. Nice, easy, simple. So yeah, they're out there for you to purchase. All right, so thank you also for letting me sell you things from time to time. This is after all my business. Now, first transit. On the 2nd of April, Mercury goes retrograde in the sign of Aries. Okay, not a massive deal because we have 3 or 4 of these a year, right? Mercury, the retrograde whore. Now, but on top of that, on the 8th of April, we have a new moon solar eclipse in the sign of Aries, right? So Aries is really being lit up at this point. Wherever Aries is in your chart, that's a point for you to pay attention to because there are going to be big things happening there for you. Now, as if that wasn't enough, on the 18th of April, Jupiter and Uranus are coming into a conjunction. This is a huge deal. This is a once in around 14-year transit. So it happens once every 14 years or so. And for that reason, this is huge, right? This is a really big deal. So it's going to affect all of us on the ground in some way because it's in the sign of Taurus, the sign of the environment, the sign of Earth, food, clothing, housing, the environment. You know, Jupiter's done a lot in good old Taurus to our inflation. Right now, that being said, it's a huge, huge deal, right? So look to where Taurus is in your chart for knowledge of how that's going to show up. For this, you have the moon card. For once, well, I say for once, every so often, the moon card doesn't actually mean the past. It means the completion or like a full completion of a cycle. There's something about this month of April for you guys as Life Path 22s. This is going to be the grand culmination of a big cycle in your life. This will be where you're looking back over something and saying, wow, you know what? It took me all of those steps to get to this moment or this point in my life. There's something here that you are seeing, and you know, the moon card can represent confusion or not seeing something clearly, or the rose tinted glasses sort of coming off. And I feel like that's what this is. It's almost like you're taking stock of something here and saying, wow, I can't believe I've like that whole cycle of my life, however long it is closed out now. To clarify on this, you've got the King of Pentacles, Taurus, Capricorn, or a Virgo male shows up for you very strong. And because they show up with the moon card, this is someone from your past. It's not somebody that's brand new to you. It's somebody that you know, somebody that you have connected with before, maybe somebody that you worked with or alongside, maybe even an old lover for some of you. Not guaranteed, but possible. Now, because of the way that these cards come out next to the Ten of Pentacles and the Emperor, it is worth noting that those of you that are married, and also for all of you, because you all have a father somewhere, whether you speak to them or, you know, whether they're, you know, in spirit or whether, you know, whatever the case might be, we've all had and all have a father. This does suggest that some of you may be either preparing to say goodbye to them. Potentially for a few of you, you could be reconnecting to somebody like that. So if you've been estranged from somebody in your life that had that sort of father figure role, or was a husband, or was a, you know, long-term partner, you might be reconnecting with them. The other thing with the King of Pentacles, it has a very promotional kind of energy about it. I see this card a lot for promotions, as do I with the World card as well. Now, as we come into May, Jupiter, Lord of growth, abundance, expansion, levity, meaning, higher wisdom, philosophy, and the law, right? And kings and queens and, you know, celebrities. Well, the sun is more celebrities. You could say that the sun, Venus, and Jupiter actually are celebrities in their own ways. But Jupiter is moving out of the sign of Taurus on the 26th of May. I keep saying the 24th, but it's the 26th. On the 26th of May, Jupiter moves into the sign of Gemini. Gemini is all about communication, conversation, education, school, and it looks like you're getting ahead of the curve here somehow. Now, Jupiter coming into that sign, I fully expect, you know, big explosions when it comes to, you know, more so online learning, digital learning, all of that kind of stuff for sure. But more than that as well, it's going to amplify communication. We're going to see new publications coming out, ones that probably rival the big dogs like your Facebooks and your Googles and all the rest of it. It's going to amplify those entities as well, because they're all about information. So we're going to see some pretty big things with Jupiter coming into Gemini, and I'm intrigued to see what it brings. Now for you, May, you have the Magician, right? Look at this. So this is interesting for a few reasons, because Mercury rules Gemini, so therefore Gemini has that magician energy. Jupiter's coming into that, and Jupiter is a very spiritual, almost magical energy, and you've got the Magician here in May, which means your words have that much more power. Your personal skill set has that much more weight. This is a time where if there's something that you really want or need, this is the time to ask for it or to go after it. It's also possibly for a lot of you where you are being recognized as a leader in your field in some way, shape or form. I absolutely love this for you. It's powerful, right? It's palpable. And also, this could be a time where you are not expected but called upon to speak on something in a very public manner. So this could be that you get an invite to do some kind of public speaking, or maybe even that you're pulled in that specific direction. For this, you have the Seven of Swords. So what do we know about the Magician? Mind your business, Siri. No one's talking to you. Sorry about that. So what do we know about the Magician? At times, the Magician can show up as the trickster. With the Seven of Swords in tow, it's very possible. Be mindful about any and all powerful people, or people that pretend to be powerful or well connected, etc. Somebody could really promise, you know, the moon and the stars and deliver a rock. Okay, so May, you do want to be extra mindful about what you're buying into, and more importantly, who. I do actually like this combination for you seeking, like if there's information that you want and you think, I've got a feeling this person's lying, you have a chance to discover that. All right. The other here as well, every so often, the Seven of Swords can represent, or Rider-Waite, or should I say Arthur Edward Waite, designer of the Rider-Waite deck, Rider-Waite-Smith deck actually. One of the things that he mentioned with the Seven of Swords was that sometimes it can represent design, which is things like fabrication, right? Which is another word for lie as well, interestingly enough. Because you've got this with the Magician card, if you have plans to make an item or to design or to create an item, May could actually be a very good time for that, especially if it's something that you're making personally with your actual hands, especially because Jupiter's coming into that Gemini energy, which is all about doing things with your hands. So, all right, let's see. For June, you have the Sun card, light, heat, blessings, joy. Whatever this lie is, not only because the Sun card is very close by, it suggests that the lie, if it's there, is discovered very quickly and, you know, comes very much to light. To clarify on that Sun card, you've got the Seven of Cups. So what do we see here? You've got two sevens in close proximity. Two sevens represents news. This is some piece of information that comes to light between May and June. And when it does, it will be a piece of a puzzle that really makes a lot of sense to you. It may be something that you choose to kind of sit on because you're like, okay, now that I know this, I'm going to bite my tongue. I'm going to bide my time. I don't know how I'm going to use this information, but I know it's relevant for whatever I'm trying to do or to create, or even, you know, trying to uncover at this time. Now, the Sun card with the Seven of Cups does suggest that even though in June you have a lot on your plate, right? There is a lot of things going on. You're spinning a lot of plates. You're juggling a lot of things, right? There's just a lot going on. And so this with the Sun card almost suggests that you are streamlining this, right? There's not only, because whenever you see the Seven of Cups, I often say to people, you've got to take something off your plate. But because you've got this with the Sun card, it means that even though you've got a lot going on, you actually have the ability to see it through, right? You've got the energy, you've got the help maybe even, and the support to kind of get it all done. As is a life path 22. Us mere mortals could only hope, right? For July, you've got the Hermit card. Good, right? I'm actually glad to see this. And the reason being, it looks like whatever sort of hard work and effort and graft you're putting into June, July is the point where you can kind of go, okay. Been an intense month prior to this one. I'm going to take time to slow it down. Remember, when the High Priestess shows up, when the Hermit shows up, the High Priestess has a message for you. So this is you really taking time to kind of slow it down, to ease it up, to listen to your inner voice, you know, to get back to that point where you're not so busy with so many other things that you can actually take a moment to kind of kick back and say, okay, let's get back to listening to our inner guidance. For this, you've got the Three of Swords. So there's a few ways that this potentially shows up. The first one is, the Three of Swords is a removal. It's usually a separation that hurts the heart. And the Hermit card usually represents older people. People that are of parentage, grandparent, great aunt kind of age. Now, you know, the Hermit is an elder, right? So an elder of a family, an elder of a coven, an elder of a community. I'm really sorry to say, I touch wood, and I really hope I'm wrong on this front, but it could be that July sees somebody in your world, an older person, could be leaving your life at this point. Now, on a more personal level, this could be that you are making cuts that feel very deeply personal to you at this time, that feel almost somewhat like very isolating. You might be having moments where it's like, oh, this is really painful, and to talk about this or admit this or open up about it, it's very sort of sensitive making. So that's how that could show up. Now, Mercury retrograde in August, on the 4th of August, Mercury goes retrograde in the sign of Leo, the sign of celebrity, the sign of kings and queens and, you know, monarchs and the glitterati, as I like to call them. It goes retrograde on the 4th, right the way through to the 29th. So it's retrograde basically for the whole month. So now that you know that about August, think about how you're going to adapt and adjust. For this, you've got the Temperance card. This is a balance point, and I actually think this is where you really are taking some time, much needed time out actually, to heal, right? July, I think you'll be taking time out for yourself to remove things, or potentially, I touch wood, again, I hope I'm wrong on this front, for some of you this might actually mean a surgery, and if it is a surgery, then it's likely to be on the stomach or the digestive system or potentially the bowel. Again, I hope I'm wrong on that front. I'm not a doctor, this is not a diagnosis. I'm just reading the energies and the messages in the cards and their combinations. Now, August is a month of healing. This is where you really are sort of taking time to step back. And with this, you've got the World card. You started the year with the World card. You're now sort of coming into, you know, certainly well, you're at this point halfway through the third quarter of the year. And that World card showing up again means that there's now another level, but it comes through in some sort of healing. Now, another way that you could see this is if you have tests, exams, You know, biopsies even. I wouldn't be surprised if something about July, you know, that surgery that I'm talking about, it could very well be a biopsy. If you're having one, you get news that is satisfactory. It's like it comes back, you're all clear, it's good news, you're okay. But still you're taking that time to really heal. This is also likely to be that on the wider world stage, my money is on one of the big religions. I think we're going to see some potentially quite shocking news around one of them at this time, or a very public facing figure. So in September, we have a full moon lunar eclipse in the sign of Pisces. Now, this is a big deal because it ushers in that axis of Virgo and Pisces eclipses that are going to be coming over the course of 2025 and beyond. It's a full moon lunar eclipse, but it's a full moon lunar eclipse on the North Node, right? So what this means is, North Node is about what we're heading towards, and it's a full moon, which is actually a completion, but the full moon is a spotlight. So this is going to really show you what you're going to be working on with this next set of eclipses over the course of the next 18 months. Big stuff. For this, you have the Empress. This is a growth point. So this is where you're starting again, right? This is where you're moving forward. This is where you are now planting new seeds, right, on fertile soil and ground, but also you're enjoying life more at this time. You've got this with the Knight of Cups. If you are single, there is either a declaration of love, there is... Mind your business, Siri. Sorry. This could be like literally, if you're single, this could be somebody saying to you like, you know what, I really like you. I want to get it on with you. Like, can we go for coffee? It starts slow and it will just start like really fun, really pleasurable, and it will start slow and it will build momentum. If you're partnered, married, or in long-term commitments, this could be where one of you decides that you actually want to have kids. Nice. I mean, all in all, the other thing as well, because the Knight of Cups is offers, and it's usually offers that are fruitful. Because it falls with the Empress, whatever comes to you as an offer at this time, you can trust it. Like it'll be something pretty decent for you. Now, as we come into October, we have the final new moon solar eclipse in the sign of Libra. So again, big deal. Eclipses are always a big deal because they unpack over time. Now, if you want to know how all of these astrological transits that I'm talking about speak to you and your sun, your moon, or your ascendant sign, you know what to do, all right? You can get those on the link in the description box below. For this, you have the Lovers card. All right, okay. So September and October look like love months. This is where relationship stuff is really coming to the fore. Again, if you're single, this is where somebody is really making an impact on you. If you're partnered, this is where your relationship is, you're looking to take the relationship to a new level. And I think a big part of the reason for that is whatever happens in July and August, it's enough to make you kind of say, you know what? Life is short. I'm going to enjoy what I have. You know, I don't know how much of it is that I've got left because none of us do. But I'm going to make the most of it. Now, the Lovers card also represents choice. Ace of Pentacles, this is a finance or a resource card, but it also represents new jobs or new homes. Now, because it's the Lovers card, which is Gemini ruled, there are options. If you are looking to move, you have a choice of different homes. If you are looking to change your job, it's like you've got multiple options. Whatever you're deciding to change at this point, there are multiple options available to you. So choose wisely for yourself. In November, Mercury will go retrograde again in the sign of Sagittarius, and it will start its retrograde on the 25th of November and go right through to the 16th of December. For this, you've got the Fool card. New things, new places, new people, new energies. So interesting, right? There may be a lot of crazy, foolish behavior. I had a feeling that was the case in the month of November, and there might be. So the Page of Swords can be arguments, disputes, people talking shit. You know, this with the Fool card. The clowns are going to be out in November, so I would just watch out for this month, all right? Anything that you can kind of see escalating and you think, not sure I want to get into that, don't. I would also say, if you can get all of your documents and paperwork, etc., signed before like the 18th of November, absolutely do, because the Page of Swords, whatever you are initiating with a new home, a new job, the options that are available to you in October, it looks like it's spilling over into November. And because you've got a Mercury retrograde, you do want to have it sewn up by about the 18th, if you can. If not, you can use the retrograde to relook at the contract, to renegotiate the contract, right? That's what we do in a retrograde of any planet. We redo, rethink, redefine, redesign, remediate the energies of whatever and that planet rules. Now, as we come into December, Mars, oh my gosh, is going to go retrograde in the sign of Leo, right? We had the Mercury retrograde in August in the sign of Leo. Mars is now going to go retrograde in Leo, but it will come back into Cancer, and that Mars retrograde is going to take us right the way into 2025. Obviously, I'll be there to talk about it all at the time. Now, for this, you have the Devil card, right? The Devil has shown up a lot for this time of year and on a consistent basis across multiple decks. Which tells me that December is another one of these shaky months of 2024 for a set amount of people, because for some people it looks like a brilliant month. So I'm intrigued by this, and for this you've got the Chariot card. You might want or decide that you want to be off on your travels, okay? But it might not be practical. Now, here's where this gets interesting. The Lovers card represents choice, and it's number 6. The Devil is number 15. 1 of 5 gives you 6. So whenever we see the Lovers card, it basically says at this point you do have to make the right decision. Otherwise you potentially end up with something that you are hooked to, addicted to, tied to, maybe even being controlled by, that you really didn't want. You'll be battling something out in November as a result of whatever you're setting into motion in October. But look at this, because it comes up with the Chariot card, you are successful. You are victorious. You come out on top. I actually think this is great because it puts you in a very strong position. All right. So your challenge months of the year, April, I think could be one. May, I think, is going to be sort of either way. July is a challenge month for sure. August, I think, well, it's not really. And then November and December, these are probably challenge months for you as well. Your power months, however, January, absolute power month. February, power month. March, power month. Love that. June, I think, is going to be very hard work, but I still think it's pretty decent. September, power month. October, power month. So you've got a good mix here. Now, your key to the year is the Gate 62 and practicality. So yes, it's about being practical this year, one of the things that your life path absolutely loves. But one of the other messages with this card is, this year you take something big, you break it down into its component parts, and you find a way to put like a big concept or idea or something that's quite confusing. You take that and break it down into its smaller parts, and that's what you sort of dole out, right? So there's an element here. I think for some of you, this is going to have something to do with teaching, maybe something to do with, creating your own, school, business, company, academy, whatever the case might be. And that card really does suggest that you can do it. So all in all, it looks like a pretty decent year. Also remember, I have a playlist of numerology on my channel on YouTube. It's completely free. It will show you how to calculate your personal year number, and then there's a video that will correspond to that personal year vibration. Check that out and then watch this again, right? And so what I've done with these, I've created a cohesive system so that you can squeeze literally the most out of the year for the year ahead. All right, with that said, I wish you an abundance of all of that good stuff. Have a wonderful 2024. Check in month by month, every 3 months, every 6 months, however you do it. Let me know in the comments how it goes. Take care, and I'll see you soon.